It has been written in the Qur'an and Hadith that there will be a reward experienced by every human being after death. When a person's life in the world is filled with sin, the reward is hell. One day, people who do not believe with Allah Subkhanawataala and Muhammad soloulloh alahiwasalam will admit he is a Kafir or unbelievers, although while still in the world reluctant and do not want to be called Kafir. This is as contained in the word of Allah Subkhanawataala in Al-Qur'an, Al Mulk verses 8-9, of the means. Every time a group of unbelievers were thrown into it, the guards of hell asked them, "Has it never come to you in the world of a warner?" They answered, "There is indeed has come to us a warner," so we denied him. In both verses it is explained that unbelievers admit to having denied warnings sent when cast into hell, when in the world they lie by saying that they are not revealed or ignorant of the slightest revelation. They also mislead the warning of the prophets, whereas the prophets are the guides and guided by Allah. Besides that, they also declare that the soloulloh who have committed astray. Meanwhile, the so-called final warner to humans from Allah Subkhanawataala is Prophet Muhammad soloulloh alahiwasalam. So whoever denies the latter warning, a time of hell, will confess unbelief by itself without any debate, as we are now often seen in the world. A servant will not be tortured unless it is established by hujjah or punish on him and has been sent a rasul to him. As Allah says in the Quran Al-Isra verse 15, which means, "And we will not punish before we send a messenger." The explanation of this verse is for the circumstances of the hereafter, that a person will not be tortured before a time comes to him a rasul or warner. In other words, a devout Jew worshipper will not be tortured if his lifetime had not yet come to the next warning. Devout Christians also will not be tortured if he lived in the days before the coming of Prophet Muhammad soloulloh alahiwasalam as the last warner. May we understand this, because every people lives in their own era. Furthermore, Allah said in Al-Quran Surah Al Mulk verse 10, which means, "And they say, had we listened or thought about that warning, we would not have been among the burning inhabitants of hell." The verse explains that the unbelievers are regretted. These unbelievers are wondering if only they were guys who were guided, undoubtedly they would not suffer such torments. They also wonder if their hearing and reason can benefit from the revelation Allah has sent down and the Prophet who came among them. They will have the glory of life in the hereafter. However, it is only regret, because when in the world they never use hearing and reason to believe with Allah and Muhammad, even they hate and laugh with Islam. In the next verse, Quran Al Mulk's verse 11, Allah says, which means, "They confess their sin, and destruction for the burning inhabitants of hell." Clearly the verse explains that the unbelievers confess all their sins. They can no longer argue, dodge, even laugh, because there is only punishment for the infidels. Such are some of the benefits of the Quran which describe the Kafir or unbelievers and their confession in hell. Hopefully useful and increasingly adding to our faith.